Conrad Morgan began his racing career in 1966. After toiling in hobby stocks on asphalt tracks like Columbus and Jefferson, he moved into the late model division in a 1967 Ford Mustang. His racing career has spanned 5 decades, and he has thus far competed for 47 years and counting. His first of 3 late model track championships at Lake Geneva came in 1977. He would repeat that achievement again there in 1980 and 1981. Conrad also became a 3-time champion at Madison in 1983, 1984, and 1992. In 1991, he captured a Big Ten Series race at Concord, North Carolina, pocketing $10,000 in top prize money. Conrad's best success has come at Slinger, where he has reeled off 6 track championships, along with winning the 1999 Slinger Nationals. Conrad has competed in all but one of the 34 Nationals events held to date, matching his racing skills against the best short track drivers and top NASCAR drivers in the country. Conrad also won the 1996 Alan Kulwicki Memorial Race at Slinger. Conrad's son Donovan has also raced late model cars against his father, who is a living legend in Wisconsin short track racing history. Here tonight to present the Induction Award to Conrad Morgan is managing partner of Slinger Speedway, Mr. Todd Phelan, and Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Wayne Erickson. Inducted into the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame in 2013 is Conrad Morgan.
Holy cow. This is like the Grand Ole Opry. First, I want my crew present, past, all the sponsors are up there in that top row to stand up. There's guys up there from, I would say, 40 years ago when I started racing. And there's guys up there that just helped me for the past couple of years, and the greatest people in the world. Lisa, I want to thank you right off the bat. It's been quite a 20 years. Thank you. It's been quite a journey. I'm not really sure how I got here. I do have some ideas on what helped make me successful in the 40 years that I've been racing. I think one of the biggest things was when I started out racing, there was so many good guys, so many guys that would lap you in 5 laps, that I got to be friends with, and by knowing them, it really advanced my racing career. And I'm going to name a few of them just, and these are not guys that I raced with once, these are guys that I raced with just about every Sunday night, or Saturday night, or Friday night, or whatever night of the week it was. Johnny Ziegler, Bobby Gunn, Jim Retallick, Tom Refner, Jim Bach, Larry Deachins, Jim Sauter, Joe Shearer, Dave Watson, Alan Kulwicki, Robbie Reiser, Matt Kenseth, Richie Bickle, Al Schill, Lowell Bennett, Brad Miller, and my buddy Dick Trickle. On top of all those guys, you've got Jerry Eckert. I don't know where you're at, Jerry, but I'd like you to stand up. You talk about somebody being racing in their 60s. Jerry's in his 70s, and he's still a tough competitor. Jerry has won races out at Jefferson Speedway this last summer. Raced 3 nights a week, comes a slinger on Sunday night, and he's a very fierce competitor. Congratulations, Jerry. Keep it up. I hope I can go as long as you have. Being able to know these guys and race with them is one of the reasons that I started out. I think I started winning races early in my career, and I guess I'm a lot like everybody else. You have 5, 6 good years, you have 6, 7 bad years. It goes back and forth. Over the years, we've won quite a few championships. I'm very proud of that. The other thing that I'm very proud of is standing up here tonight. I want to thank Todd and Wayne and Rodney for keeping that racetrack going. I don't know for sure what we do on Sunday nights, Lisa, but we'd probably have to find another place to go race. Might have to drive a lot further. I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees, past and present. When I start talking about Joe Shear, he was one of the guys that probably helped me more than anybody else when I was struggling trying to learn how to make a race car turn left as opposed to spinning around in circles. Joe, as many of you guys know Joe or did know him or ever talked to him, he was a man of very few words, but when Joe Shear talked, I did a lot of listening. Contrary to what some of you guys up there might think. Joe was a great guy. I didn't know George Scheffler all that well. I met George a few times. We had a few deals going between the businesses. We did some paving for him. That's how I got to know him. I watched him race quite a few times, and it was really evident how fierce of a competitor he was too. And Chris's dad, Bob, I never met him, but knowing Chris, I got a pretty good feel for what his dad was. And I congratulate all you guys for being in this in the Hall of Fame. Last few weeks leading up to tonight, I did a little bit of thinking about where I've been and how things got started and where we're at today. And the cars we run today and the haulers we use today are so much different than they were in the mid-60s and 70s when I attempted to go racing. The first time I ever went racing and paid any attention to it was on a Saturday night. My dad took me and my brothers out to Jefferson. My Uncle Dale was racing out there, and I sat there in the stands and watched that, and I was like, this is it. I'm done. I'm addicted. Left the racetrack that night, and the next few weeks we spent, me and some of my friends from high school at the time, put a hobby stock together and went out to Jefferson and raced. And then my dad found out that I did that, and wasn't very happy because I wasn't 18 and was supposed to be 18 to do it. That was the time I was running a 1956 Chevrolet. You get to talking about haulers before. You get the race car to the racetrack. I had a tow bar. If anybody ever saw a U-Haul tow bar, it's just a little triangle piece that hooks on the ball of your car, and then it's got a bumper hitch that clamps onto the front bumper of the race car, and down the road you go. Well, the race car is trying to go to the left, and the tow car is trying to go to the right, and you go around corners, and they both go in opposite directions, and pretty soon the tow bar broke off. The tow bar, the race car, everything went through the ditch into some guy's front yard, slams up against an apple tree, and apple trees are falling, or apples are falling. That is where Father Gruba got the story about the apple doesn't fall far from the seed. And that's where Donovan comes into the whole thing. My notes are getting all mixed up here. in order for anybody to race, you've got to have the help, the pit crew, the backing of your family, and the sponsors. And I have had some of the best sponsors over my racing career that I think anybody could possibly have. I'm going to go back a ways here, and I'm going to name quite a few of them. But just about everybody that's on this list is either here or has some connection with people that have been here, with the exception of Glenn Dempsey from Jefferson Transport, passed away about 10 years ago. We've got Wales Lawn and Garden, Paul Bowers, sitting up in the stands here. We'll play back to Mufflers and Pipes when it was still Art Ray. It's changed hands since then, and I haven't seen Art for quite some time. Pabst Blue Ribbon with Bob Malkovich, Park River Yacht Club, Randy and Barb Holland, who are here tonight. Ellison Technologies, Rob Braun and Derek Armbruster. Rob's here. Ziegler Crane Service. Johnny Ziegler, when I drove his car for 1 year, was sponsored by his business. This last year we had Certapro Painters. Matt Hester was the head up on that. That was our connection. There's Sport Clips out of West Bend. Dr. Dirt, my old buddy Donnie Roberts, who I can go back to say that I don't know anymore for sure, but there was, for a long time, we held the record for being the only two people that ever get thrown out of Hurley, Wisconsin. Link's Hideaway, Mary Link over in Kewaskum. Pro Steel Asphalt Maintenance, Mike Prowitz. I don't know if Mike made it here tonight, but Mike has been on my race cars for about 5 or 6 years now. It's been great. Are you sitting up there somewhere, Mike? Thank you. We're going to get to the sponsors. The engines engines and chassis that I've been running over the past, I guess, 30 years, 35 years. The first cars that I bought, that was a super late model, was a Tom Refner car. It was built by Jimmy Bach, I think, and Tom Refner ran it, and we bought it from him. That was back when we had the tires that were 16 inches wide. And Brad, if you think it's rough going around Slingers Racetrack with 10-inch tires, try it with 16-inch wide tires. That was really a treat. After I had that Bach car, then I went with one of Joe Shear's cars. That we won quite a few races. That was really the first super late model races that we ran, or that we won. And when we went to left-hander, Rander car, Pathfinder. And right now we're running a Rander left-hander chassis. We were talking about earlier tonight, I was talking to somebody about how much money we win today, or how much money we won 30 years ago. And I remember back with the Joe Shear car, I finished 5th in a feature at Madison on a Friday night, and I won $180. And that was probably the early 80s. I figured that was it. I was on the way, man. I'm going to be the next Jeff Gordon. Back then it wasn't Jeff Gordon, but it's probably Bobby Ellison, I suppose. The car that we're running right now, the one that I ran last year, is a left-hander chassis. It's had a lot of fine-tuning from guys like my friend John Reynolds Sr. and Dave and Mark Filer, and been really helpful in getting us going, getting that car going. I attribute most of the success we had this last summer to those guys. I'm going to read a list off here of the people that have helped me over the years, and it's not a conclusive list. I know there's guys that I haven't seen for 20 years, so I didn't put them on the list, and I'm sorry if I missed somebody that is actually here. Roger Lindsay, Dickie Johns, Larry Silke, I know you're up there. Tank, I know you're up there, Todd Williams. Brad Melster, Dave Green, Ray Bullock, Paul Bowers, Jim Morris, Jimmy Lynch, Mike Feldner. MFR Feldner built my transmission for, 12, 15 years. Craig Latch, Rob Braun before he started racing, and he was a wild kid that sometimes couldn't find his way home with us at nights. We won't talk about that, will we, Rob? Darren Wilms. I work with Darren every day at Wolf Paving. John Weinkoff. Mike Vogt, been around for, before he helped me for the last probably 8 or 9 years, was helping Donovan. James Spoleski, who's new to us this year. Mark Vogt. Matt Baling, Dave Baling's son, Dave Baling. We kind of had a 3-generation thing when we won that race at Slinger last summer. We had Todd, Dave, and Matt out there on the racetrack, so we actually had 3 generations of Balings, which was pretty cool. Then we go to Harold and Barb Butchke. Harold has been around my racing for, I'm not really sure, but I think somewhere's around 40 years. He's been at the racetrack. I would swear if I raced in 40 years, if I raced 800 times, he's been there 795 times. Thank you, Harold. Harold and Barb. Scott Lynch. Scott has been helping me off and on for, I think it's 25 years. I'm not really good with keeping track of these things, especially when it goes back that far. Thanks, Scott. Scott's been a great help to us all the way along this. And my 3 kids, my 3 sons, Donovan, Dustin, and Ryan. They put up with a lot when we're all living at home and racing every weekend, and they're kind of like little slaves. I'd make them go out there and work in that race car. My wife, Lisa. Any of you that have been involved with racing, and I'm pretty sure just about everybody in this room has been involved with racing one way or another, whether you're a family, it's a part of a race team, or you've worked on a race team, or you're a driver, or somewhere or another, or if you're a sponsor. You know how much time it takes, how much time and effort it takes, and how much you have to give up to do it. And I especially want to thank my wife, Lisa, for putting up with this for all these years that we've been together, and I've been racing, and she has never once complained about going to the racetrack. She's never complained about getting up on Monday morning at 5:30 in the morning going to work. She's never complained about having dinner at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock, because I was working on a race car that night. She's given up a lot, and all I can say, Lisa, is thank you and I love you. And in closing, I just want to remind you all that it's only 183 days till Slinger opens up.
Me and one of the sponsors, Rick, were sitting at a bar and we were talking, and how great it is that, you know, me and him were both associated with Conrad, and how cool it was that we were actually affiliated with someone that was getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. So we came up with the idea of throwing Conrad a party, and the beers and everything was $1.92, and half the money would go to the Hall of Fame, because we both thought this was a really cool cause and something that was really worth it. Actually, after I loaded the car, or helped unload the car this morning, this will be an annual ordeal where we will be doing this every year, raising money for Hall of Fame. It will always be the week before Halloween, and the beer and all the alcohol will be $1.92, and half of it will always go to the Hall of Fame. So every year from now on, Hall of Fame will be getting a check. So our first check to you guys is the amount of $1,300, and hopefully it will help out the cause. And thank you. Great job, Mark.